have this terrible, gnawing feeling that it might not work out for us this time.
So you guys know those things that just randomly keep popping back up in your mind. Like that one thing you just keep seeing everywhere. Or that craving of a good Chick-fil-A milkshake. Not sponsored, by the way. Well, I've had something very strange that keeps popping back up in my damn head. I just can't seem to shake it no matter how hard I try. Stranger Things Season 4. I honestly probably can't stress to you guys how much I enjoyed this thing when it came out. This season was one of those rare things that everyone just commonly agreed that what was being shown was great. Even months after it ended, people were still talking about it. And I remember leading up to the release of the season, not expecting much of it. But I had no idea that this show was about to hit me like a fastball straight down the middle. Because we all expected it to be good. But this was just something that was completely different. It's so great that I'm here talking about it to you guys a fucking year and a half after it's been wrapped up. But it honestly was an era. And I don't think I'm alone in saying that. If you clicked on this video, then this thing more than likely left a lasting impression on you that you just can't seem to shake as well. So, my name is Manuel, and piggyback with me as we rewind the clock to take a leap back into some of that Stranger Things Season 4 air. What makes something special? When I think about that question, I come across another asking, what separates this thing from so many other pieces of media? And the short answer with this is maybe, well, everything. When I say Stranger Things Season 4 was an era, I kind of truly mean that. Hell, this thing revived a dead song from 40 years ago and made it the most played thing for 3 months straight. Also, stylistically, this thing is just leaps and bounds so far ahead of any other TV show in recent memory. The amount of amazing shots we get in this season is fucking incredible. I mean, the only other series that pops in my head is maybe Daredevil or Euphoria, but like, let's be real. This season is in a league of its own. The team of writers and producers really went all in on this. How many shows are giving you a 2.5 hour season finale and every other episode going well over the hour mark? These runtimes of high production levels are basically miniature movies as episodes, and this added on to the overall binge watch experience. This season took itself serious and it fucking paid off. In every step, in every far off look, we get a feeling of emotion that pulls us so deep into the story that it sets us in that world of craziness and bizarreness that Stranger Things is. It's probably balanced in tone perfectly. And hold on, can we stay on that cinematography for a minute? Because this is a TV show, a TV series, and the cinematography outperforms so many dumbed down CGI and green screen big budget movies we've gotten in the past few years. What they lacked in the CGI budget, they made up for with the more practical shots and editing. When watching, you can see that so many scenes and shots were thought out with purpose and care. This led to unique camera angles, unique color palettes, unique sequences in long takes. Scenes filled with only conversation even have identities of their own. There's so many great transitions that give you that feeling of you watching something special. I still am completely blown away by this one damn bike transition from episode 8. Not only is it just a dope transition, but what it symbolizes and represents as we switch from the younger generation of kids to the older generation upside down, showing how the whole team might be in over their heads. Pure genius. These subtle things that are done at such a high quality is what helped leave a lasting impression on us. This whole season was a surprise, especially the idea to split it up into 2 separate volumes. Something that had never been done before in the series that also played a role in its success. I think us having that break between the 2 volumes for that month really helped build our anticipation. It's something that I cringed at when I first heard that it was happening, but now I look back and see it as a genius idea. We got loaded with great content in that month break between the 2 volumes, especially with the season after show that premiered on their YouTube channel, that gave us so much insight and relatability toward the season as a whole. But even though the production efforts overall were incredible, The season wouldn't be what it is without the people that bring the show to life.
Yeah, and I just hit the bucks.
Alright. I know I tend to talk about how great characters are when I think something is special. But man, Stranger Things might do characters the best I've ever seen. The characters are what drive this show. Yes, the plot and 80s nostalgia are a big factor, but these characters are always at the center of it all. Let's take Eddie for example. It will never cease to amaze me how these writers find a way to absolutely make you fall in love with a new character each season. Eddie is one of those characters that is written damn near perfectly. He's that common trope of the guy who doesn't fit in and is seen as an outcast. But the way they spin this common trope is where the true magic lies, because they use his ability of not fitting in as his heroism. His story of always running away gives him the chance to stay and fight. And that quirkiness of not fitting in is what for so many people makes him relatable. They don't just highlight his flaws in this trope, but they also show his perks. It's his relationship with Dustin that we see how he's a shine of light for those who are seen as quote unquote weird. He shows them that it's cool to not follow the crowd and that it's dope as hell to just be you and have a damn blast doing the stuff you love. And as far as character work goes, that's pretty damn amazing. They managed to make us not want to see him run away. They allow him to connect with the other characters and mesh with them like he had been there since fucking season 1. And let's talk about those other heroes.
Look at us. We are not heroes.
This is something you probably heard a million times, but Steve was fucking great. I've said this before, but his character development from season 1 episode 1 till now might be the best character development I've seen in anything, period. And when you tack that on with how interesting his and Nancy's back and forth is, you get something truly special. And that's honestly across the board in this show. So many relationships in this past season have twists and turns and baggage unpacked from episode to episode. Look at Max's and Lucas' dynamic, a story we've been seeing developing since season 2. You really get to see how heartfelt and how much these two mean to each other throughout this season. The scene between the two in episode 9, where everything is at a climax, is one of the most emotionally pulling scenes in the whole series.
Stay with me, Max. Hang on, just hang on. Never gonna help.
And I really think that just goes back to the connections of the characters. It feels like a never-ending string being woven and intertwined between the relationships, not just from one connection between two people, but how each relationship manages to tie in with another completely separate relationship in the show. Whether it's Hopper and Joyce, or Elle and Papa, or Hopper and Elle, you get to see these small pieces of the puzzle come together to make this masterful artwork. And it's a tool used so much throughout the series. Then on top of that, these connections that date back to multiple seasons ago have so many payoffs in this season that make your investment of these relationships so satisfying. Whether it be Robin's talking in the bathroom with Steve back in season 3, and that contrasting with Steve pushing her to talk to her crush throughout season 4, or Elle losing Hopper at the end of season 3, and the emotional 3 inches letter he left her being contrasted with them finally being reunited at the end of season 4.
Open 3 inches.
And to take a step back, I don't think this has ever really been done before in a TV series. At least not on this broad and massive of a scale. So massive that there are plenty other connections and payoffs that I just didn't get to mention for the sake of the runtime of this already lengthy chapter. And that alone really shows the strength of the Duffer Brothers' character work in this story. And that reminds me of something very important. How about the greatness of that Stranger Things story? If I'm going to properly talk about the story in season 4, I have to obviously address the elephant in the room, Vecna. Something that made Vecna special is that this was the first time in a Stranger Things season that we got a villain who had an actual consciousness. Vecna isn't just your everyday slime ball upside down monster. He's a character of his own who has a backstory, motives, and a plan to flip everything into chaos. And that was really refreshing to see. It gave us a chance to look at somebody other than the Russians or Papa as a true big bad. We got to take the villain seriously, and him being absolutely frightening on top of that added to the tension that he brought on screen. Maybe the most impressive thing of all that the Duffer Brothers keep managing to do is how they make all of this story connect. If I'm correct, this whole plan of chaos with Vecna has been the whole plan all along. A villain lying in the background, like a tiger in the grass waiting for his moment to pounce. Playing a patient game of chess, moving each pawn and knight perfectly into place. Popping up in times we didn't even know it was him. Influencing and manipulating this whole story all along. Never have I seen a show so balanced in tone, in relationships, in heart and stakes as I have in this season. So many episodes that drive this thrilling plot forward are infused with care and heart that pull on the emotions so damn tight. One standout is Dear Billy. This episode was the turning point to where Max became one of the most important focuses. Here we get to see how much trauma she has been carrying since the end of season 3. This led to so many interesting interactions between her and the other characters, like her and Lucas and her and Steve. Maybe the most important takeaway from this episode is how it feels like a complete story arc of its own, but one that the story still majorly builds on as the episodes roll out. This is something that I liked in Andor or The Last of Us. Episodes that have a true complete story going on within them. The area that I feel like both of those shows lacked in, compared to the Stranger Things structure, is how those episodes felt too condensed. In The Last of Us, we get episodes like Endure and Survive, between Sam and Henry that are great, but they fail to build off of the story. Hell, the rest of the season barely even mentions it happens. Whereas in Stranger Things, they manage to do the opposite. They find that sweet spot where so much of what goes on in Dear Billy plays a huge role in the rest of the story. We even get similar parallel moments between the same characters that go drastically different. And that's what this lightning in the bottle of a story has captured. There's so much heart and emotion in this story, and your investment gets paid off over and over again. It's also a story with great themes. It makes you ask yourself, who are the real heroes? Those people lying in the background that never get the recognition they deserve. A story that has been brightened and blued by an old man dealing with loss, and finding that light again in the care of a little girl. One that has me wondering with the equal intensity of how will these heroes save the world, but also who will get the girl. If Stranger Things Season 5 can stick the landing, this show may go down as one of the greatest of all time. And sticking the landing is the key. In an era that we've been butchered with shows that build our anticipation but drop the ball so hard in the finale over and over again, Stranger Things can finally show them how it's done. A show with a killer score that will get my blood pumping every time. And at some point, this story has to wrap up, right? And in that, we can imagine some characters will be lost. But this season made me realize more than ever that I don't really want to see any of these members bite the dust. I can't imagine Max not waking up. As epic as it would be to see, I can't imagine our girl Elle going out in a blaze of fire. And this is what this story has done. It's latched itself onto us since it premiered when we were all in completely different stages of our lives, and hasn't let them go ever since. And as season 5 continues to develop, so will our anticipation of another final Stranger Things era. Until then though, I can shake my head all I damn want, but I won't get this season, this show, out of my head anytime soon. What's up everyone, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Thank you all for watching. It's been a little minute since I posted, but I'm glad to be back. It's also around Christmas and the New Year, so I wish you guys all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I can't wait to bring you all great content within the new year. But that's going to pretty much do it for this magnifying moment. And until the next one, I'll catch you guys. See ya.
6 shots, think I'm Pac now. Look, 6 thoughts in the drop now. Ha, feeling like I can't stop now. Wait, I know it's lonely at the top now. Tell them why.